I think that when people that are finding their purpose in life and walking out what they're passionate about, there's going to be these really big peaks and valleys, but without them, you would not be able to reach that destination, the person that God really wants you to be.
Welcome to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast, a weekly podcast providing career and creative inspiration to help you build a purpose-filled life. If you're interested in tapping into your creative potential, pursuing a career with passion, and building on your biggest and best resource, yourself, please join me on this path. I'm your host, Nancy Moore, and I want you to know that I'm on this journey with you. So let's get started. Before we jump into this episode, I'd like to take a minute to thank my sponsor, Cedar and Lily Clothier, an approachable, upscale experience for women who love the shopping journey as much as beautiful clothing. They are empowered women empowering women. At Cedar and Lily, they provide exceptional clothes for extraordinary women. Look great, feel great. Cedar and Lily Clothier. You can find them in downtown Jinx and online at cedarandlilyclothier.com. Lisa Bain knows hardship and suffering because she has experienced it firsthand. It's really something that nobody can escape, but the severity of how it's dealt with varies significantly from person to person. Despite Lisa's circumstances, she chooses to search for the bright side of things, and doing so is a champion spreading joy and kindness. In fact, she created a nonprofit known as Lisa Bain Ministries that is centered around doing so. Her faith and furry friends are also key components of Lisa Bain Ministries. During this visit, you'll hear how she sheds light into details about leaving a foundation she started and how that has brought her to develop the new foundation that continues her mission. For Lisa, it's all about care, connection, and community. So I hope you enjoy this conversation with Lisa Bain. Okay, so you guys, I am visiting with the amazing Lisa Bain, who is the director of Lisa Bain Ministries. And I had the opportunity to interview Lisa many years ago. Yes. I might have to look and see when that was.
Yes.
When she and I talked about joy in the cause, and that was a nonprofit that was very close to her heart, and she has now taken on a new role with her own ministry. Mm-hmm. And so I thought before we move on, because mm-hmm. we talk about passion and people are going to hear your passion for what you're doing, but it was a little bit abrupt the way that you left mm-hmm. Joy in the Cause. So I thought, let's talk about that a little bit, and then we'll move on to what you are currently doing. So
absolutely. Well, Joy in the Cause is very dear to my heart because that was about 15 years ago. Oh my goodness. I've been doing nonprofit work a long time. And it started because of my mom, because of a cancer diagnosis and an autoimmune disease diagnosis. She was diagnosed with stage 4, given about 5 months. And in that same time frame, a doctor told me I had her gene and I had inherited some really debilitating autoimmune diseases. And his exact words were, throw away your running shoes and call it a day. Well, that was the day she looked at me and said, Lisa, there's treasure in the darkest places, and this is going to be the best day of our life because we're going to give and we're going to serve, step out, see miracles. And that's when she coined the phrase, giving equals joy, joy equals hope, hope equals healing. And she began the nonprofit that would help those with life-altering illness, special needs, and crisis situations. And she always said to me, in fact, that day that we walked through this, she looked at me with her little crooked finger and she said, we will never compromise the faith or the foundation of this nonprofit. It's why it exists. Always remember the purpose, always remember the foundation, and never waver from it, Lisa. And so it was many years of just seeing amazing things happen, and it grew as we helped people. She was such a strong woman of faith and such an example, and we just saw miracles happen. Well, it probably about 3 years ago, I had a board and their staff, executive director, and they met with me and voiced their desire to change directions of the ministry and make it more of a business, that the faith would kind of be taken out, and that there would be some really big changes that just kind of threw me back. And all I could hear was my mom saying, never compromise, Lisa, never compromise. And I knew then that I was going to have to resign as employee, and shortly after, they let me go as founder. And it was truly one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever walked through. It was truly traumatic. But, when I look back, it was the best day of my life. Some things are a divine appointment and we don't know it. There's things that God may see in our lives that he's like, you need to be lifted up out of this and protected. I had books to write, and it was actually my attorney that said, we're going to start another nonprofit. It's going to be Lisa Bain Ministries. You're branded. They know you. They know and trust you, Lisa. Even though you have walked through this horrific betrayal, people know. So he named it, and I was like, oh my goodness, another nonprofit. It was the best thing he ever did, because I'm able to do the same thing, carry on the same mission, and in an even greater way, with greater freedom. And the board and the advisory team that we have truly gave me my faith back in people. They carry the passion, and we've seen miracles happen. So, and my mom kind of knew it was going to happen. She just kind of knew this was going to take the direction. So I look at it as the hardest thing I've ever walked through, but the best thing. And I think that when people that are finding their purpose in life and walking out what they're passionate about, there's going to be these really big peaks and valleys, but without them, you would not be able to reach that destination, the person that God really wants you to be. So I would go through it all again, and I'm thankful for it, but I have absolutely nothing at all to do with joy in the cause. And a lot of people are still getting it confused, thinking I'm with them. They still have an organization. Lisa Bain Ministries is separate and carries on the exact same mission, those with life-altering illness, special needs, and crisis situations. Miss Mavis Pearl, she went over Rainbow Bridge shortly before all this happened, and that's a whole nother story in itself. But she had the opportunity to train Mabel Joy. And Mabel Joy, Maddie Grace, and Moose, they're the 3 therapy dog ambassadors that now carry on the paw ship, or whatever that is, of Mavis. Mm-hmm. So it's just been, what a journey. I'm so thankful to be on this end of it. And I've been able to help about 5 other nonprofit organizations that went through the same thing, because I know what each step is like, and I know the grief, but I also know what it's like to get on the other side of it and to be able to hold their hand through it. It's been a joy. So that's the scoop on joy in the cause.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that you spoke with Wendy Shirk on a treasure talk. So there may be some people that know that story, but with you and I and our connection, I thought I just want to visit with you a little bit about that. So thank you for sharing.
And a lot of people don't realize a board can get rid of a founder. So, but that's a whole nother story, but it's all good.
Yes. And like you said, I feel like you're saying that you are so much better off.
So much. I'd go through it again.
Yeah.
And that's a
lot. I know.
That is saying a lot, but it has been, I would do it again in a heartbeat for what we've gone through and what we've seen, and the miracles and the people, and oh yes. You see the worst side of people in the nonprofit world, but you also see the best side. And I like to focus on that part.
Yes. Yes. And you are undoubtedly one of the most amazingly positive people. And it's interesting because you said, instead of going around it, God took you right through it. And how difficult that was. But like, again, now you're saying you would go through it all again, knowing even all the hardship that you had to endure.
Absolutely. And sometimes he carried me through it.
Yeah.
But he's the best one to get through it with. So I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I love hearing that. Yeah, I'm sorry that you experienced it, but again, with your perspective saying that, it has grown you as a person and where you needed to be.
There's a quote, I hate what I'm going through or what I went through, but I love what I became because of it. And that's kind of what it is. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
Makes you better.
Yeah. That is a good one. Oh my gosh. Okay. So what advice would you have for others going through a difficult time?
Oh, I would say get the right people in your corner. A tribe is so important. Your tribe. Mm-hmm. Have the right tribe and also have the right board. I think the number one thing that I really learned was rest, not to go fast, but to really stay focused on your mission and passion and don't listen to the noise because it will veer you off. Stay in your lane. You know your calling, you know your passion, and sometimes it's so easy to run and I have to step back, take a deep breath, rest, and know what's my mission, what's my passion, why did we start this? And Mom would always say, if God's here and you're over there, he didn't move, you moved. And so really stay on focus because there's so many things in life today that can take you and veer you off. Don't listen to the noise. That would probably be the number one thing that I would say.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's great advice. And that can be easier said than done. But if people can,
especially with social media.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. So I want to get into Lisa Bain Ministries and what you are passionate about with that. So you have so many different components of that, but if you'll just kind of talk about a little about Lisa Bain Ministry, and then I also want to talk about resilience boxes.
We have a passion for different projects, and we're able to do it because of our partnerships. And we help those that are facing illness, cancer, any type of illness. We've worked with those facing homelessness, our Veteran and Gold Star family, and then our first responders, our backpacks that first responders have in their cars to help kids going through an abusive situation. These last 2 years, we've seen all of these just explode. And it's just been a joy to be able to link arms with other people to help it grow because we couldn't do it by ourselves. And for an example, we're getting ready to go deliver care boxes to Children's Hospital. Well, I get to go with the real live Okie superheroes. They're dressed in superheroes. We all go together. I get to bring the dog and we get to deliver packages. When we give a care bag or a care box, there are people represented in that package that have walked through broken. And part of their healing is giving back in those boxes and in that project. Veterans who have walked through it help with things in that. It's what I love about what we do is that it's so all-encompassing and the server and the giver get such a blessing in it all. In fact, we've seen many volunteers find their purpose and their passion through volunteering. Through helping. We've had, breast cancer survivors. I've got one amazing, she's a precious cancer survivor and she makes beautiful jewelry that go in with a little note. Our prayer quilts that 101-year-old Anna Faye, they all make these quilts. Every tie and every stitch is a prayer and a blessing and they're just so special, but they help each one of these projects. And there's someone who has been touched by every one of those projects. If it's not cancer, they might be a veteran, if they've walked through abuse, if there's, foster children. So our passion is really helping people walk through those broken places and knowing that we are with them and they're not alone. Mm-hmm. And there's an army of people behind us to give them that hope and support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I think sometimes having something tangible too, getting that delivery and them opening the resilience box, mm-hmm. I think just having those items to look at and refer to and have them be able,
and
to
they all have a purpose. We have a card that goes in it. They each are intentionally put in there. Many times they request items. We put those in there.
So what? Yeah, I was going to say what's in the box.
Oh, there's boxes. Practical items. There's hygiene items. A spa kit. There's heating pads, and the little kids have a stuffed animal that's a heating pad. There's jewelry. All of my books. There's a stuffed Mabel Joy dog. And there are just practical things. There's money cards, gas cards. There was one that is going to Oklahoma City and really needed gas cards and meal cards. So we do those. Big snack bag. And things that you really don't think of that they might need: a robe, slippers, house shoes. The men get special socks and a dop kit with different things in there. I mean, it's a 14 by 14 by 14 box filled.
Wow.
And they all have a prayer quilt in them. And everything is sent out with a prayer and a blessing. They go, and it's so fun. I had one lady that said she opened up her box and she could just feel the hope come out of it. She just said, I just felt such a connection as she went through everything. And that's what we want. We want them to feel the many people that are surrounding them and to give them resilience. That's why we called it the resilience box, and everything in it is intentional and really special. I'm really, and the bags are for the kiddos as well. And they're all just so special. I love them. I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of our community and the people that have joined with me to make these so special. Even we just had someone that's donating now all of our snacks. And Imperial Vending Company. I love these people. And they just say, come and get the snacks, and because it's expensive to get those snacks.
Oh my gosh,
and now
yes.
we have them for the cancer patients during chemo, and the kiddos in their bags, and the care boxes. It's people like that help us do what we do.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm wondering, do you want to talk about maybe how people can help you with the resilience boxes, or should we keep moving on and then you can talk about that at the end?
Yeah, I can.
I want to have people know how they can get involved.
Absolutely. I think too, one of the stories that I would love to share that kind of pretty much sums up what we do and what we love to do and why we're named Lisa Bain Ministries. I wrote a book called Feel the Rain, and my mom was on her last chemo. She had a favorite window, and it was really bright and sunny in the chemo chairs in the treatment room. Well, I was walking and making visits with Mabel, and I walked by this gentleman. He was an older gentleman, and he looked at my shirt, and it said Lisa Bain Ministries, and he started cussing me out. And he said, get out. I don't want your God. I don't want your prayer. I don't want your ministry. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, that's not why I'm here. I just wanted to let you know that we're here to help you. And he started saying, well, I have to drive so many miles from Okmulgee, and I'm sick at my stomach. And I said, you know what? I've got some things in my bag that'll help your nausea. And I handed it to him, and I said, and I've got a $200 gas card that'll make it a little easier today. And he said, well, and he just stopped for a minute, and he goes, well, why? And I said, because that's what I'm here to do. And I said, you're sitting in my mom's favorite chair. He goes, your mom? And I said, I understand cancer. In fact, it was in your chair that one of the most precious stories happened. And he just looked at me and he goes, well, what happened? And I sat down and I said, it was storming that day. And I said, you see the window? It was raining that day too when I was talking to him. I said, see the raindrops? Well, my sweet little mama, the chemo had stopped working, and they came and said, you're going to hospice. She knew it was her last one. And she looked around, she looked at the window, and she said, Lisa, look at the drops. Look at each one of them. They're so different. She said, I just want to feel every drop because I don't know how many I've got left. And she said, I just want to feel the rain. I want to feel the drops. And that's where we got the name of the book. Some people feel the rain, others just want to get wet. And so that day I went downstairs and I got my umbrella, and she said, nope, I want to feel every raindrop on my face. And it was storming, and she walked out with her arms raised, and it was pouring on her. We got in the car, we were soaked, we laughed, we had one of the most precious moments. And my mom truly taught me that day to feel every moment because we didn't know how many we had left. And so at that time he looked at me, and I saw a teardrop glistening in his eye. And I said, so I understand your journey, and I understand what it's like. And he looked at me, and I said, so just please know that this is for you and we care. And he grabbed my hand and he said, will you not forget me? Will you pray for me? And I said, I will. And I gave him a prayer quilt, and I gave him a Mabel dog, because at that point he was very receptive to it. And we left. Well, not long after that, I got a letter. and I would love to read it to you.
Please do, yes.
It says, Dear Lisa Bain Ministries, you don't know me, but I am the sister of a man you helped at the cancer treatment center. He was receiving one of his last chemotherapy treatments. You visited. He said he was very hateful to you when you made the visit, but after you blessed him with the gifts, even a gas card, and spent time listening and sharing stories with him, he felt as if he'd made a new friend. That doesn't happen often with my brother. He's very bitter and angry about his cancer and was only given weeks to live when you saw him. I want you to know that my brother was never the same after that visit. He carried his stuffed Mabel pup around and was always covered in his prayer quilt. It never left his side. My brother changed that day. I saw him smile for the first time since I can even remember. I saw hope in his eyes. I want you to know that he lived these last few weeks of his life with a joy I had never seen. In fact, he asked to be buried with his stuffed pup and prayer quilt. He passed peacefully, and we know he's home now. Thank you for making an eternal difference in my brother's life. The short time you spent with him changed the remaining days of his life. I'm eternally grateful for your ministry and for caring about my brother, Gene. That's what Lisa Bain Ministries is about, and that's why I would go through what I went through with Joy in the Cause to be on this end of it. This would not have happened had I stayed where I was, and God saw this man waiting in the wings. And my mom's journey just left such an imprint, and that's how we wrote that book. The day I was diagnosed, my mom said, get your pen, write it down. I said, Mom, I'm not a writer. Yes, you are, Lisa. You will write. You will have books. Write it down. And so I wrote everything down we went through, and those stories became the book. And, Mom knew, and 3 books have been written since then. This is why I do what we do. And this is why I keep the name ministry. I was even asked, you won't get grants if you keep the name ministry on there. You know what? We're called to love people, no matter what skin color, no matter what race, religion. Illness doesn't discriminate. And that's why I keep ministry, because I want to be an example of loving through it all and walking with people through a journey that is brutal. And it takes grace and grit. And it's not about preaching to people. It's about loving them and helping them through a difficult time. And you know what? God takes care of the rest. And it's like this man. I didn't say anything. I just loved him. And look what happened. Mm-hmm. Love is a powerful thing. Mm-hmm. And the last thing my mom said to me was, Lisa, love wins. Love always. Forgive often. She knew I was going to have to forgive big with what I was going to go through. And had I not learned how to forgive, I'd be stuck. Mm-hmm. And this would not happen. So that story exemplifies so much of what our heart is, to walk people through their broken and not feel alone. Because the number one thing that I hear from people who are walking through a really difficult thing is, I feel so alone. And we said that in our cancer journey. I can be around 1,000 people and feel so alone. We don't want people to feel that way. So I wanted to share that because that kind of gives you an overview of our heart at Lisa Bain Ministries.
And you can relate to that, feeling so alone.
Oh boy, can I ever. We sat in those chemo chairs and people would come by, and even the snack lady and Mom would go, oh, it's the snack lady. It's our slice of normal. And I always tell people, I want to be your slice of normal today. Because sometimes that slice of normal is the one thing that can get them through those side effects, through the nausea, through an abusive situation. You know, we want to be that really good place of normal for them and be there. We say it's about relationship, not experience. That's why I think we've been able to succeed, because it's not about, here's your box, see you later. It's about, you know what can we do for you? We're here. How can I help you? And checking on them. And having a team that's there that knows what they walk through that can also check on them. So relationship is huge with what we do.
Yeah. And you guys do such a good job of building relationships and building community in so many ways.
Care, community, and connection is our tagline, and we could not do it. We were not meant to do this alone. We need each other. And the one thing I learned is how to choose your authentic tribe. You want people in the boat paddling, not drilling holes. And you will learn who your authentic tribe is many times through the peaks and the valleys. I learned my authentic tribe. And community, oh my goodness. we could not do what we're doing to the extent we're doing it without community. We're supposed to do this together. It's about completing, not competing with each other.
Oh, I love that. Okay. So one of the things, because there's so many things that your ministry does and ways they touch people. And one of the things that you do is you have treasure talks. And so I'd love for you to talk about why you started Treasure Talks, why it's important, what people can learn if they tune in.
Oddly enough, I am an introvert. People don't believe that.
I do not believe that, Lisa.
I love being behind the scenes, and I love to see people succeed. And it just makes me so happy. And I saw so many wonderful people that I wanted to tell their story. We have so many heroes in this community and so many nonprofits that are genuine, authentic, life-changing, and they just need to get the word out. So one of the things I really wanted to do was something called Treasure Talks, where we could interview the heroes and really push them forward and, market them and say, hey, this is available. And I'll never forget when we did Hope is Oxygen, and they deal with those wanting to end their life. And we had 4 people contact us and got a hold of her. And we've just seen that it's really made a big impact, and stories from mental health to adoption to organ transplant to counseling to so many different things. And it's just been so fun to see that. And one of the things that we love to do that's kind of an offshoot of it, we love to donate a profile video every year to a nonprofit that needs to really get out there. And we have seen amazing things happen from those profile videos. And I love to sit in the background and watch them get grants because of it. Watch them get awards and just celebrate the victories. That's what we should all be doing, celebrating the victories of those. And someone said, well, aren't you they competing with funding? And I'm like, absolutely not. My mom used to say, God keeps the books. It just works, being able to help others where they need help. And then in turn, they come and they're there for us. You just can't go wrong when you partner together, and you can help so many more people. So that was really my passion and my goal. And I didn't know it would take off the way that it has, but I stay inspired because some of the people that we've had on, their stories, I'm like, wow, I'm just honored to be in your presence. Seriously, isn't it amazing?
I can completely relate, and that's selfishly one of the reasons I have the podcast. It's
like selfish. I'm like, I just sometimes sit there. One time I was sitting there, my mouth is hanging open, and she's talking, and I realize I'm supposed to ask a question. I'm just the whole time going, oh my
wow,
goodness.
Yes,
wow. And then I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. It's just amazing. We have so many amazing heroes in this community, superheroes that have walked through and serve and step out and truly do see miracles because they chose to be on the good end of it and see treasure and not wallow in the other negativity of it all.
I love that you're in it to also lift others up.
That's my favorite thing. I have to say, someone said, what's your favorite thing? And I said, I love to see other people succeed. I love to see God work miracles in our organization and for us to reach people. But I also, the other day, someone got a huge grant that we were able to help them with. I did cartwheels in my backyard. I was so excited. She goes, Lisa, you're more excited than I am. I'm like, you just don't understand. You have needed this for so long.
Wow.
And to know that we helped, it just is like it happened to me. And so I love that part of it, being able to be on the journey with other people. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. There's a lot of brokenness, and together we can walk through that healing together. We've all got it. We've all got stuff,
partnering with the right people and then helping others is big. You're
huge. And we've partnered with so many animal therapy groups, and I can't even begin to tell you the miracles we've seen in partnership, from horse therapy to farm animals to being able to sponsor kids with their horse therapy at like American Therapeutic Riding Center and Fantastic Farms and little bitty mobile petting zoo. We take those animals to Little Lighthouse and Happy Hands. We just partner together and make it fun so kids can have that therapy. And of course, I'm crazy about animals. If animals are in it,
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. It just is.
Yes.
Just is.
Yeah, I love that. So, okay, talk to us about celebrating the milestones or the joys, because there's hardship, but then also you have to kind of pause and stop and celebrate different things that happen, whether it's receiving a grant or somebody, is feeling better or whatever it is. So if you could kind of maybe share what you do to celebrate.
Oh, we have had some great milestones. We're looking at our impact report. Almost 10,000 items have gone out. Our goal is from 50 to 100 partnerships. I was looking at our impact report and I'm like, how could this have happened? But it did. And we just celebrate those together. And it's just a testimony again of the care, connection, community. But I have to say, the biggest milestone and really one of the biggest things that was just such an answer to my prayers. In fact, when Grady Nichols began his Grady Nichols Christmas show, I love Grady. He's dear. I've known him for years and years and years. I've had vision boards, and on my vision board, I put one day I would love to be the charity. And I've carried that from vision board to vision board and even changed the logos. We wanted to be a charity. And I thought there's no way, especially now since I'm not with Joy in the Cause, I'm with Lisa Bain Ministries. And so last year when Grady came to me, we became the benefiting charity for the Grady Nichols Christmas show on year 7. And it turned out to be the biggest one they'd had. It sold out the sections. We had to open up the balcony. It was truly, Kenny Loggins joined us, Jay DeMarcus joined us. It was such an answer to prayer, all of it, to be chosen. And we were chosen now to be the permanent benefiting charity. And I love Andy Chrisman, Kelly Ford, and Grady Nichols. And they are the real deal. They truly are the real deal. And to be involved with them all year, as we're already planning it and getting sponsors, it's going to be bigger than ever, better than ever. But that has been such a milestone. And also to have, businesses, like Texas Roadhouse, they raised almost $20,000 worth of gift cards for meal cards for cancer patients. Stuff like that is huge to us. And the partnerships that we have and the sponsorships that we have, that keeps us going. We consider every sponsorship a milestone. We're in our 3rd year as Lisa Bain Ministries, but continuing. And I've been in the nonprofit world for, almost 25 years now. So I have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, but I have seen just incredible things with community this year that has just been a milestone in itself. And so I would say, there's so many. I wouldn't even know where to start. But I have to say that I'm really excited about the Grady Nichols Christmas show because that was just a huge... I said to Grady, I can finally mark it off my vision board, Grady. I showed our volunteers, look, it's really on the vision board. And they're like, it really was. I said, you guys, I was serious about this. And I was like, I don't know that we'll ever be able to be on there, but it was. And it was... And the ticket sales went to help our ministry. So that's keeping us going with, our the care boxes and the bags. So it's like your ticket keeps on giving. Mm-hmm. It's like going to a Christmas concert that helps the community, local. And that's really important. Someone said, are you going to go national or are you going to... No, we are staying local. I have a heart to help our local people. Mm-hmm. And that's where we will always stay. Mm-hmm. We'll have people that will sponsor a box that they'll send somewhere. Oh, right. But we just want to stay local.
I'm glad you shared that was on your vision board because I even have a vision board here.
It works.
Yes.
It works.
It does work.
Yes.
And just as a side, are you looking at it every day and praying over it or what are you doing with the vision board?
They're all on my wall, on my bedroom.
Yes.
On my entire wall is nothing but vision boards. I walk by it probably 50 times a day and I see it. And I'm like, okay, thank you that that's going to happen, Lord. I'm just so glad that's going to happen. I've got verses on there. I've got just pictures. I am such a visual learner. If I see it,
Same.
It just gets embedded in my soul. And my words this year were alignment and completion. And so be careful when you ask for alignment. You get aligned. Oh. No, but it's been great. And I've learned even so many things just in these last 2 months with that. And I think a lot of things will really reach completion this year. It's like, I had this dream where there were strings that were just hanging, and the strings alone can be broken, but they were braided, and they went into the shape of a cross. And when there's, the scripture that talks about the cord of three cannot be broken, and we're stronger together, and those frazzled things will come into completion and really be stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's incredible. Okay.
So I'm so glad you do a vision board.
Oh,
that makes me happy. I love vision boards. So.
Yeah. At the beginning, I do it in January, and then I'm constantly looking at it. And
it's in my face all the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So
I love that.
Okay, so I'm going to link your information, but you might just mention a couple ways people can get involved in Lisa Bain Ministries.
We have so many things on our website, lisabain.com, from how to become involved to our treasure talks. We even have a store where you can go if you want to get Mabel dogs. We even have a Mabel's Corner where you can learn about the therapy dogs. It's amazing how many people are like, how do I do therapy dog work? Where we want to help you. We think that's great. lisabain.com. We are on almost every social media platform there is, because we want people every day to see what we're doing in the community. It is huge for me from day one for people that give to our organization to see firsthand where their dollars are going. I remember many times giving to some charities and I'm like, well, I wonder if it helped it. I wonder if that really went to that. We want people to not have a shadow of a doubt in their mind that that's where the impact from the support that they gave went. So you will see every day on our social media that lisabain.com. And we're excited that we got great nonprofit 3 years in a row now. We got 2024. And I was really tickled when we won the award from the Human Rights Commission, the Compassion Award.
I saw that on I think it was your website.
That was a momentous occasion because that exemplified love, because that's what we're about.
Yeah.
Loving in a big way.
Yes.
So, yes, and whether you want to help monetarily or as a volunteer, all of that information can be found at lisabain.com. Even all of the books, everything's there.
Do you have families too, or kids also volunteering?
Oh, goodness. Yes. We've got churches. We've got a group of kids. We had a group of kids at Regent that came and helped. We've got a little Bible study that's going to come and help us pack some bags. And it kind of goes in different seasons. When we get the supplies, then we'll pack. And our big prayer now is we've run out of room. We're in our house, but we've got like 3 storage units. So if anyone knows wants to donate a storage facility, that would just be wonderful, because we'd love to have a place to pack things. Mm-hmm. But we also have loved being able to work out of our home, because we've had a lot of groups like John 3:16 and Flourish Homes where they come and they get to see a home setting. We feed them dinner. They get to go in the different rooms and pack different bags or do these t-shirts and it's just been wonderful. But as we grow, we'll eventually need more space. Skipper said, we're going to be in a tent in the front yard with our 3 dogs.
So it's all at your home right now? Okay.
Yeah, it's all at our home right now, it's working. All of our kids are gone, so every room is a project. And we've got assembly lines of tables of stuff to pack, and it's just worked beautifully. It's just, we're growing, and so, but it's been fun. And having 3 big Bernese Mountain Dogs makes it even more of a hoot. But they get to come and play with the dogs, and the dogs love that.
Yeah. So. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Okay, so in wrapping up, my theme for this year is Grow More in 2024. So I would love for you to share with people how you are growing.
The number one thing I would say is we are growing because we have wonderful partnerships. We could not grow without them. And as much as I would love to say you don't go through bad times, sometimes it's those valleys that help you grow and become better. And honestly and truly, after this whole thing of what I went through, I've become better and know how to better focus and grow, how to better sustain those partnerships, how to cultivate those partnerships. And that has definitely helped us grow. How to have those third-party events where people have events and they donate to your organization. But really, again, it goes back to care, connection, and community. we would be stagnant without that. And so I'm excited because we've already just this month had more people partnering with us, that it's going to help us grow us in an even greater way. And I love that. So I would definitely say our partnerships are number one to helping us grow and helping us effectively do the projects that we do well. It's because of those partnerships.
Okay, well, I appreciate you sharing that. And I do think that is very beneficial. Again, partnering with the right people.
Yeah, and also growing in myself. There were things that I had to really grow to be able to get to the next season. And every puzzle piece fits into that growth. It just all fits. And if you have the right community, they help you get through it better. Better and not bitter.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you sharing a little of your story on Joy in the Cause and now what you have, Lisa Bain Ministries, because your name carries so much weight. I don't know how much you realize that, but in this community, I mean, you are so well respected, well loved. So I personally love that it's Lisa Bain Ministries.
Oh, thank you. That means so much.
Yeah. So anyway,
onward and upward.
There you go. And that, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait to see all that is going on where it is onward and upward.
It is. Absolutely. No noise. Don't listen to the noise.
Yes, true. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap on this week's episode. I want to thank you for listening to the Sharing Passion and Purpose podcast. It means the world to me, and I'd love to connect with you. Please follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Sharing Passion and Purpose, and Twitter at Passion Sharing. Also, if you like this podcast, it would mean a lot to me for you to subscribe, rate, and review it. And as always, all my show notes will be available on my website, sharingpassionandpurpose.com.